And I think the thing that excites me most is the ability for them to be so nimble. And this is a different business, but this is a roller skating rink of ours. They had an idea to sell tickets, and they called us up and said, wow, and this was during the pandemic, right? As a way to meter the people arriving and et cetera, et cetera. So they knew who was coming and for the different slots. But within an hour, they were selling tickets online through Partywirks, and the response from their customers was amazing. Right? I have 50 slots at 10 a.m. And he said we were able to raise the prices. Also.
Right.
So, but just the ability to have such an impact on your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Larry. Really appreciate it. For people who don't know about you or Partywirks, tell us a little bit about yourself and software that you have.
Well, thanks, Forrest, very much for having us on your podcast. Appreciate the opportunity. I started Partywirks in the year 2000. Before that, I was working happily at a big software company in Silicon Valley, and they were pioneering the concept of self-service software, but focused mainly on really large organizations. And so I was a sales rep for them, calling on companies and looking for ways to automate and save them time and money on routine business process. So you can imagine a company that has, 100,000 employees or tens of thousands. The HR department becomes a cost center. And so executives are looking about, hey, how can we reduce the cost of a $50 per visit estimated cost per, staff member to come in and change their phone number or they get married or something? How can we turn that into something easier and cheaper for everybody? So that's what we would do, is look for ways to put in some self-service software tools or options, so the staff could do that work right at their desk. And it took costs down from roughly $50 a visit to about 50 cents.
Wow.
So, and this was back in the early 2000s. So this concept of self-service, is all throughout our economy today. An example would be a hotel. Heck, I would not want to be a hotel today that didn't have online reservations.
Right.
You'd be at a serious disadvantage.
Absolutely.
It'd be crazy. So, everything was fine until 9/11 happened, which changed my world as it did so many other people. So I was in the 5th round of job cuts from this company and was kind of facing a fork in the road. Try to find a job when there really wasn't any, or take my 401k, raise a few dollars, and start this company. We're actually known as self-service systems. Sorry, there's a little glitch right there. And Partywirks is a name we use for the entertainment market. So that was a big risk, and it took some time to get going. Was able to hire some engineering talent, and I was kind of like you, Forrest, a sales guy with an idea, right? So just like many other entrepreneurs, you work long hours, work with people, get tons of feedback, and so that took some time. And that's what I've been doing now for it's our 21st year.
Wow. Yeah. That's some serious time in the game.
Absolutely.
So now you work with all different types of businesses, like in different industries. What are some of the ones you cover? Obviously, we have you on the Striking Success podcast. So bowling's a big piece of it. What all do you span?
Well, all of our customers have two things in option. They all rely on reservations. They need to see a steady stream of new people coming in the door. And all of those customers, or more and more every day, want to do the transaction online.
Right.
So those are the two things. If they have those two requirements, they could be a good fit for Partywirks.
Okay. And so then tell me a little bit how, you guys have worked with some of the bowling space, because that obviously has its own kind of challenges with getting lanes, and how has that changed your offering at all, or how do you guys work with that specifically?
I'm getting a lot of feedback in my anything you're hearing on your end.
No, it looks like you're joining. So I don't know if you're joining from a phone as well, or
no,
but it sounds good on my end.
Okay. So the question is, how do we work with bowling centers? We had a call 2 weeks ago from one of our clients that's adding laser tag and arcades to their facility and want to be able to let people book those things online. So that's one of the, oops, sorry.
I think I
may have
removed
lost
it.
you there. Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
much better.
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was horrible. I was hearing everything 4 times.
I kicked, yeah, you somehow you were joined twice. I kicked it out. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Well, one of our largest bowling center customers has 14 centers,
Oh, wow.
and we have developed over the last couple of years a multi-location manager. So in a
Mm.
previous life, I was a marketing manager at a company that had about 20 remote offices, and I was supposed to collect all the data from those offices
Mhm.
to roll them up into a common database. And that was like pulling teeth,
Yeah.
trying to get all of the different people to send me their data.
Right.
So this multi-location manager just collects that automatically. That's email addresses, orders. So a
Mm.
manager with access to that can just look and see a report with pie charts, or look at individual locations to see how they're doing.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's been
Okay.
a huge thing to see, okay, what center may need some attention, what promotions are working over here. So in addition to expanding their offerings, the ability to quickly on a dime change from, let's say, a Thanksgiving event at your center to a Christmas, a New Year's, a Super Bowl, and get that promotion quickly out the door to your
Mhm.
prospects is huge. You're not printing
Yeah.
flyers and putting them out and all this. It's instantly out there on the web.
Yeah. Right. So
So
quicker
that's,
turnaround time.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's what we're doing. And most of our customers, pretty much all, have been first time users of really any e-commerce software. In
Yeah.
fact,
I could imagine.
yeah, so this is first time for them, and they have a lot of questions. So it took a lot of education in the early days to help them see the benefits.
Mhm.
They were afraid of losing control over the process, or the big thing was lack of personal touch.
I
People
see.
won't feel
Right.
warm and friendly online if they do it that way.
Right.
I think over time, both of those things have been flipped on their head. Number one,
Yeah.
today, if you don't have an easy way for people to book, you're going to lose a lot of people right there.
Yeah. That's the expectation. Right.
Yeah. And it
Mhm.
turns out with a consistent, repeatable process like an online booking system, that's what you give your guests every time, an
Right.
online, consistent, repeatable process. It
Mhm.
removes the different personalities that could be involved when the phone rings and someone answers it at your center.
Right. Yeah, and then also if someone's busy, they can't pick up the phone or it's after hours. There's a lot of things there where that opens up that booking capability.
Well, in today's world where there's a shortage of staff and
Right.
customers are online like never before, it's a
Mhm.
perfect storm for what I call the moment of decision. So if you look at your
Mm.
average sales funnel, right at the
Yep.
bottom of the sales funnel, that's what I say, that's the moment of decision. How
Mhm.
you, the business, expect that customer to move forward.
Right.
You can, and I'm the moment of decision is when the client goes, the light bulb goes off and they say, hey, we're going to go to this bowling center,
Mhm.
next Thursday.
Right.
At that time, you can either direct your customer to email or phone or something like that, which is very risky today,
Yeah.
or you can direct them to Partyworks, where we handle a variety, much more than just the online booking part.
Right. Yeah, because that they're interested in that moment, and if you don't get them at that moment, they might lose interest. You know.
Oh, it's crazy.
Mhm.
Exactly. I just made a long trip across the US and Canada. My iPhone was my best friend for finding hotels, for
Right.
food, right? And if you're not there, you're not participating, really, you're missing out.
Yeah, you almost
So
don't
our
exist.
Yeah, so our role here at Partyworks is really to offer some easy to learn, easy to use software,
Mhm.
because so many staff today have iPhones or iPads or computers. It all
Right.
runs on those devices, so people can check in from home. The staff can see what's going on from home or take care of business that way. In a
Right.
more mobile friendly way.
Yeah. Now, how far does it extend past the booking for what you guys do? You said you have a database. Is there something where you have a CRM attached, or do you share the customer data with like your say you're working with a center and someone makes a booking? Do you share that with the client center that you have, or what do you guys do with that information? Or tell me a little bit about what past the booking, what that looks like.
Sure. There's several ways to get into Partyworks, and what we call it kind of a multi-function software system, because we know that about less than 20% of the people who land on a website are actually ready to book something.
Right.
Many are shopping, they're planning, they're looking out to see what's out there. So at multiple points, if you're booking or inquiring or sharing, we're going to collect information that is stored in the Partywirks database, and the center can then use at their, convenience for email marketing or whatever they want to do with it. So all the information stored.
I see. Okay. And then do they export that into some system to send out emails, or they can do that through your software, or where does that communication go from?
Right now it exports into Excel, so they can just put it into Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever they happen to be using.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, because that's always, we were just talking to Bart about that recently, and how important that customer data really is. And a lot of people don't, a lot of proprietors haven't quite seen it. A lot have, but they're just now starting to realize how valuable that information is.
Oh, it's critical. Yes, I see us will be doing more in that area in the future. So it's a never-ending progressive stream of software development, right? We listen to our customers. We constantly listen to our customers. They tell us what they need. We engineer it in there, and we just continually solve new problems and new technical challenges that come up.
Right. The never-ending list of feature requests, right?
Exactly.
Can you do this? Absolutely.
That's what keeps us in business.
Exactly.
I tell you, the most important thing I've learned is a great service ethic, right?
Yes.
When we started, we may have been one of the first companies to do this. Now there's, a bunch of competition, but the service ethic of taking care of your clients, because again, many of them have never done this. Businesses today run on software. And it's something they may not have been used to in the past. So they need a helping hand, some guidance, some coaching, and that's what we like to provide.
Right. Yeah, because until they feel confident using it and their customers using it, they're not really, bought in until they understand it.
Yes, and it's so easy to use. They could be online in a few days, and then they get an email. Oh, new order came in. Oh my goodness, how great is this?
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Actually, the bowling center's customer, their booking experience. What is that like? Do you guys have it down to just a couple of clicks, or tell me about how you guys have made that as easy as possible? Because that's one that I've run into with some of the other ones. I won't name names, but some of them are a little more difficult to actually.
Yeah, ease of use is critical. Our very first customer. So I was shopping around. I had the technology, but it was for a different market. The same technology. I was shopping it around back in the day to figure out where is it going to be a good fit. And I approached a family fun center where my son was working part-time as a high school student. The general manager called me back in a few weeks. I went and saw him and said, Larry, the booking of a birthday party is one of the most complicated, time-consuming parts of the entire family entertainment business.
Right. Yeah.
It takes up a lot of time and staff resources. Right. But the mom, has a lot of questions, and it's got to be easy. Anyway, he was our first customer. We built in the ability to make it easy, but graphically pretty. I mean, our customers can put their images in there for add-ons or whatever they want to represent that activity with. We have a set of questions that are customized for each thing being booked. And this is to pull out the details from mom about what she really wants. So when she walks in the door, there's no issues. So we constantly get feedback on it being easy to use and navigate, and very customizable. So our customer can customize the heck out of it.
Yeah, that's always that dichotomy, right? Is the customization requires more of the setup, but it's more customized, obviously, or the more basic version is just out of the box, but it's limited. That's always what I've seen is the kind of the decision you have to make.
Yes, and so we have custom graphics so that our team makes for people. We want it to look great on an iPhone or any phone, right? So a pleasant experience, and it retains the brand of the website and the company, of course.
Okay.
So using the same colors, logos, etc.
And now, do you guys take payment at the like you said, the moment of decision, or is that something they have to do when they show up, or how do you handle that?
No, that's another great benefit. Like I think I mentioned, about 75% of bowling centers don't have any way to take credit cards or any real online presence beyond maybe a website.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 5 payment processors. So we, depending on what the bowlers, maybe they're using Card Connect or something. So we get their Card Connect information, plug it into Partywirks so they can take payment online
directly
at that moment of purchase. Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. And you don't have to handle them.
No, nobody has to handle the money. It just goes straight into their bank, and they can charge more at different times if they have a kind of on-demand pricing a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So they can charge more on a Friday night than a Sunday morning, for example. They can collect pay. They can also collect a deposit or the full amount. So it depends on the center. Some like a deposit, some like the
Right.
full. Very easy to collect the payment. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal, especially from a marketer standpoint for the attribution to see what's working. If you can tie a sale back to some kind of marketing effort, it really helps reinforce if you're doing, what's working, what's not.
Well, that's another benefit of the automated approach. If you can see, so imagine before Partyworks, the phone rings in a center, somebody writes down the information. Well, how do you repurpose that piece of paper? You've
Right.
got to distribute the information to everybody else
Mhm.
on the team, and then
Right.
sit down and what are you going to do with it? When they go through the Partyworks path, right? We collect all their information, their payment, all of the details. Do they want lanes? What size, pizza would they like? What choice of sodas, or whatever the case may be? They can package the add-ons with the package so they have a nice, offering.
Yeah. And then does that connect to their booking engine too? Or do you guys serve as the central calendar, or how does that line up?
Yeah, we serve as a central calendar.
Okay. So like if there's a walk-in, they'll book it, they'll have, Partyworks up on the screen and they book it right into Partyworks there.
They could. Our bowling center customers come in all shapes and sizes. Some use the big company software packages that are integrated with all kinds of stuff. Most of our customers aren't at that stage yet.
Yeah.
So they would use Partyworks for everything. Or if they happen to be using a bigger package, they could still take the order in Partyworks. And much like they would do over the phone if somebody called, they would just enter that into the next system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that's always difficult if you're trying to run parallel systems. But if you can do it all in one, it's much, much nicer.
Yeah. Yeah. So Partyworks, for the businesses we use, is really their only scheduling system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. And then back to the payments, do you guys just run through the credit card processor, just run straight through, or do you guys charge a processing fee, or how does that work for you guys?
No, we're members of the BPAA Smart Buy program, and there's special pricing. It's just a fixed flat monthly rate. There's no any other fees. The credit card, fees charge their piece, but we have just
it's
a
just
steady.
passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just,
that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We found that nobody wants anybody else to be holding their money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As quick as you can.
Right. And you too, as the company, you don't want to be liable for that too.
No, and the credit card companies have made it so easy. Who wants, to pass it through? So we want to, add as many of those processors as we can. So it makes it easy for vendors that are already using a processor just to plug that into Partyworks.
Right. Yeah, so that's nice to do.
Yeah, that's really simple.
Right. Yeah. Then like you said, it's just a matter of the flat fee then that you guys do as the Smart Buy.
Yes.
Okay. Very nice.
And we don't have any contracts either. That's something I learned when I first started the company. It's like, what am I going to do as a small company if somebody doesn't pay me? It's strictly month to month, and that's it. And we offer 30-day free trials too, if any centers are interested in just checking it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That is nice to have. We do the same thing just because, it's almost like, put it back on yourself. Like I should earn it every month. I should be good enough that you want to come back every month and decide to stay with us.
Exactly. I mean, that's the way it works.
Right. Absolutely. Great. Well, so then we talked a little bit about, how you got here into the industry and the birth of the company. What's some of the stuff that you're seeing work for some of your, your better performing centers today? Any special promotions, or the people who are doing a lot of bookings, what are they doing right that other people can try?
Sure. Well, one thing is, I'm going to use an example of a company down in Texas. Interviewed him recently and said, what kind of results are you seeing? And so from his customers' perspective, he said, Larry, when my customers show up, they're better informed. They found all the information online. They've answered the questions we've asked. If they want lanes, we'll have lanes. So a serious drop off in the he said, she said.
Okay.
We're seeing them spend more because they paid the deposit or the full amount before they arrive. They feel like, what the heck? Let's spend a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So,
and then they almost reset when they get there, right? I've heard that too. Well, like they don't feel it in their pocket because they already paid for it. Then they get there and they spend more money because they don't associate the two.
Exactly. That's just human behavior. So that's worked out for him. From his staffing side, he says, Larry, before Partyworks, it was kind of guesswork of who's coming and when. How many people are going to walk in the door tonight?
Yeah.
So with Partyworks, and now they insist 100% of the reservations go online because it provides that consistent experience,
Yeah.
checks
Predictable.
availability, collects the money, it's predictable, but they can also meter out when people arrive.
Right.
This particular manager came from a construction background, and he was looking at the throughput of customers through his building
Hmm.
and noticed knots of people standing around the check-in counter. So
Yeah.
with Partyworks now, they can meter out who's arriving and when, and staff effectively so they're not surprised when a big group walks in.
Hmm.
They also get better visibility into upcoming orders. When people purchase add-ons like pizzas, he says, heck, now I know how many pizzas to make, how many cheese, how
Right.
many pepperoni.
Right.
So from scheduling, customers arriving, with a regular cadence. He was also surprised when people book and when, not realizing what a 24/7 society we live in when you might work regular hours.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
people were booking at all kinds of crazy hours all around the week when
Interesting.
normally
Yeah.
they weren't there to serve those guests.
Right. And then they might have missed
So
that moment of decision, like you were talking about.
yes, and I've seen people say that guests are coming from farther afield because they can book online, have some certainty and
Yeah.
plan versus let's drive
That's a
over
good
there and see
point.
if we can get a lane, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. You're not going to
it,
drive 45 minutes just to hope that a lane's open. That's a great point.
yeah, right. So it just opens up. Well, the bottom line is the customers are driving the demand, right? They don't
Mhm.
want to call and talk to somebody or get a voicemail. And we know how that works, right? If you return the call, half the time they're not there and they never
Mhm.
call you back. So that opportunity's gone. So closing off any opportunities for customers to filter out of the sales funnel
Mhm.
is critical.
Right. Yeah. Plug those holes.
Exactly.
Mhm. Very cool. Now, is there anything that people are doing to get more bookings or like putting it into their Google My Business profile I've seen or on their website or pushing it out in their email blast or what is there anything people are doing to try to get more bookings that's working well that you're seeing?
All of those things, if you look at
Mhm.
the sales funnel, Partyworks going to fit up there because all of the content that goes into the Partyworks system can be found by Google, helps your SEO and to be shown
Okay.
in the search.
Yeah.
We also have share buttons built throughout our system so people can easily share. I might be a church admin planning some kind of a fundraiser. Oh wow, I'm going to send this to my associate here so people can share information about the business.
Yeah.
But we recommend people connect to their book now button to Facebook, all their emails, texting, anything they're doing, any communication should be driving because when you think about it, if I'm not driving them to an automated self-service system that's available 24/7 that can handle any surge in
Mhm.
business,
Right.
I'm sending them to something that might just pile up a bunch of messages.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you effectively spend the dollar on marketing to make sure you get the money out the other end instead of getting bogged down in somebody's inbox?
Right. Yeah. And
So
hoping that your team is going to get back to them in time.
yes, and
Mhm.
customers don't really want to call. I read an article in the New York
Mhm.
Times yesterday that people hate phone calls.
Yeah.
Now
Especially younger people.
this was on a personal level, but if they don't like calling their friends, they're probably not going to want to call and get put
Right.
on. And plus, you can't explain stuff clearly that well over the phone,
True.
right? We live in a visual medium. So if you saw a Partyworks customer, you'd see the pictures, the add-on images, all of this stuff that gives them
Right.
some idea.
Yeah. That's a
And
great point.
it
Yeah.
just eliminates the What did I hear on the phone? She said I could bring 6 people. I'm bringing 10. I've got to pay more. What?
Right.
So
Yeah. Or
it
do
just
you want to
all
add a
cuts
pizza
out.
versus a picture of your pizza? And yeah, I see what you're saying. Much
Yeah.
more, much
Yeah.
more.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So what are
Very
they
cool.
doing in marketing, right? It's just put that book now, inquire now. We have people using Partyworks for job, inquiry. So
Mhm.
it's a multi-talented tool because again, we recognize about 20% of the people that get there are going to click a book now button. The others might be planning a fundraiser. They want to sign up for a daycare camp,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So they're a field trip or a
Right.
waiver if you have something that requires a waiver.
Mm. Now, is
So
there a difference in the, I guess, guest experience depending on the size of the event? So, like, if it's like, just 2 lanes for a group of 10 people versus, a 50-person event, Does that change what the experience is like, or how does that work with yourself?
Sure. Well, of course, the venue can create a 50-person event, and we actually have the ability to hide. We can publish an event, but hide it from the outside world, so the staff can see that configuration, what's in the package, or they can work with the client one-on-one,
Yeah.
or they can publish that, and the client can then ask. There's going to be certain specific questions: how many guests? Are they children and adults? What is the theme? Would you like, whatever? Here's the
Hmm.
special add-ons. The add-ons could be for a large group. So from that perspective, it can handle, large groups too. It kind of depends how the system's configured.
It depends what they want to do. Yeah, because I've seen
Yeah.
some people will have two different systems depending. They'll have like a cutoff. They say if it's less than 15 people, just book a lane straight from here. If it's a large event, go over here, and this is a different process.
Yeah, it
Just
really depends on the party managers, how they do
Mhm,
things, when they want to get involved. I would
mhm.
say one of our key things is at that moment of decision, if we could get somebody that's interested to fill out a field trip request form, or some other group event request with the details, different than just an email. Hey, contact us.
Right,
The PartyWorks form is going to be specific for what the party team wants to know. So when they get
right.
it, here's what we're dealing
They
with.
got all these things. Yeah,
Yeah, saves a lot
yeah,
of time. They can get back to the person quickly. And
yeah.
in sales, time is everything.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because we do a little bit of that as well, and we found it's definitely a balance because you don't want to ask for too many things up front because you'll get a drop off in the response rate. But if you break it up and you just get contact data at first, and then you do a follow up and say, hey, here, by the way, here's what we need to get started, then you'll get a better compliance. And even if the person doesn't fill it out, you still have their contact information to follow up with them. Breaking it up
Yes.
seems to help.
Yeah, lots of different approaches.
Mhm. Yeah. And now, so for your booking portal, is it like a product base where it's like a link to a product and they book that product, or like what's the starting point? Because that's one thing I've seen that really differs from software to software is like, what's the first step? Do you have to pin in the date, or do you start with a product, or tell me a little bit about that process?
Oh, heck, I could show it to you, but I don't know if that'd be appropriate now. But we've provided two options. So first, there's going to be a link to PartyWorks, and you can
Mhm.
link to different things inside PartyWorks for specials and stuff.
Okay.
But they're going to link off their, book now. They're going to be on Facebook, book now. It's going to take them to the PartyWorks sales portal, which has their banner, customized, their colors, etc.
Okay.
The guest will be able to choose by package or choose by date. So if they have a particular date
So you
in
can do
mind,
either.
yeah, two
Yeah, that's
choices.
nice. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
right. And if
Yeah.
they're not interested in that, there's an inquiry or customer service tab where they can
Mhm.
see a variety of things they can do, or send a share to somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful because some of the ones I've seen, they force you into doing it one way, and that's not always what the customer has in mind. And so they're
Yeah,
like, think that they're halfway down the funnel, but then they have to start over and start at the date, and it's not clear. And some of them are more seamless than others.
yeah. So we listen to our customers, and they're very, they give us a lot of feedback. Over the years, it been some great ideas.
Yeah.
Love our customers. Again, they don't have to pay for us every month if they don't want to. People have been with us for years.
Hmm.
It's really kind of a trust service thing. If they ever
Right.
need us, we're there. I mean, that's critical. And
Yeah.
and we're also a customer funded company. We don't have big outside investors.
Mm.
We just work with our clients, and almost from the first year, that's the way it's been.
Yeah, that's really nice because then you can act, you're not worried about big investors coming through, cutting costs and service and trying to squeeze out every last dollar.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So we've talked about, how you got here, what's working today. Let's talk a little bit about the future. Is there anything you see on the horizon, or what are some of the things that you guys are working on today for, the next, call it 6 to 24 months?
Okay. Well, right now we're developing our own in-house API. We
Mm,
see integrations with other products as key. So we're
okay.
going to continue to build out our product, and think of it as a center of excellence for the self-service software that we do in our niche.
Yeah.
But then we want to partner with other tools because, as we know, every software tool out there is its own silo in most
Right.
cases.
Unfortunately,
And
yes.
yeah, and that makes life more complicated for the
Hmm.
center owners and operators having to
Right.
learn all this different stuff. So integration with other key tools is definitely on our radar.
Hmm.
And I see a more complex scheduling environment coming up as the centers are adding more things, more activities,
Right.
the different events, arcades, and We have
Axe
some that do
throwing,
volleyball
yeah.
as well,
Right.
right? The whole thing.
Hmm.
So they're definitely evolving into more of the entertainment center type destination.
Right.
So we've got to be ready to handle all that. And we have a lot of customers that do that now with multiple categories of
Hmm.
different activities.
Yeah, I would imagine for the same, it's the same basic premise, right? Inventory and time slots for most of that. I'd imagine it's pretty similar.
Well, exactly. It just might have within each one of those, how many cat groups can we have? How many
Yeah,
side, the add-on
right, the different
mix.
rules.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
that
then
makes sense.
have people trained up. And the training is very simple. I mean, it's
Hmm.
like most apps today. It doesn't take, there's no books or manuals. It's simply,
Right,
okay, click this button, see what happens. Perfect.
right. Yeah, yeah, and a lot of these places, at the front desk, it's kids anyway, and they take to the software very quickly to begin with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a game changer. Again, if you
Hmm.
think of, well, there was an article in the LA Times here recently about restaurants giving up on phones entirely.
Hmm.
The ringing phone in a restaurant, what does that do to the staff and the
Yeah,
guest experience? Right?
right.
The busy wait staff has to drop the guest, go answer the phone
Hmm.
with the same routine questions, that they've heard 100 times. So it interrupts that process. So now getting this is just beginning. But when
Right.
you think about the ringing phone in a business today, it
Yeah,
really can be a distraction,
that's a great point.
and there's better ways to handle that ringing phone, and that's to give people what they want, which is
Hmm.
some way to take care of themselves, on their schedule when they're ready to do it.
Right. Yeah, I've always thought that. Can you imagine if instead of a phone, it was a person did that, just cut in front of the line and stop the person from what they were doing and just interjected? You wouldn't stand for that.
No, that happened to me years ago in an auto parts store,
Right.
standing there waiting for some part, and the phone
Mhm.
rings, and it's like, what about us?
Exactly. Yeah. You wouldn't stand for that if someone did that in person, but somehow on the phone they
No.
get by.
Yeah, so technology's, intercepting those type of calls, because a
Yeah.
lot of them are not really good calls or just quick throwaway questions that they could easily get online,
Right.
right, without distracting the staff. So yeah, I see more reliance on technology, and back to that, if you don't have it, you're like an island out there,
Mhm.
and everybody's out here, and you're still, it's not for everybody, right? Not everybody needs this type of stuff,
Yeah.
but the ones that are, trying to move into different categories, attract new customers. I mean,
Mhm.
that's really what it's all about, right? And who's your target customer? A mom with kids, and who needs this labor saving and time saving option more than somebody like that?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I would totally agree. And I'd almost push back and say that everyone does need it. It's just a matter of who's ready to adopt it and when.
Well, that's true, right? So
Mhm.
that's where the education, and we get a lot of calls from referrals,
Mhm.
right? They found us at another center or something. So
Right.
the pandemic was a tragedy and a pain in the neck and destroyed
Mhm.
millions of people's
Yeah.
lives, but it certainly propelled the age of e-commerce forward.
Right.
And now
Mhm.
everybody can see, why can't at my small business offer the same stuff that the big business does?
Right.
And
Yeah.
with Partyworks and tools like us, you can.
Yeah. Yeah. It really lifted up that expectation that it's not just for, the Darden chains or, everyone else. It's for, your mom and pop store too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the thing that excites me most is the ability for them to be so nimble. And
Mhm.
this is a different business, but this is a roller skating rink of ours.
Mhm.
They had an idea to sell tickets, and they called us up and said, "Wow!" And this was during the pandemic, right? As a way to meter the people arriving and et cetera, et cetera. So they knew who was coming and
Yeah.
for the different slots. But within an hour, they were selling tickets online through Partyworks, and the
Wow.
response from their customers was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I have
Mhm.
50 slots at 10 a.m. And he said we were able to raise the prices
Yeah. Wow.
also.
Right.
So, but just the ability to have such an impact on your business by coming up with a quick promotion, let's get it out there, book it now, you know, that's amazing flexibility that
Yeah.
businesses need today.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're behind the eight ball if you can't have some
Yeah.
form of that. Mhm.
Yeah. You're at a disadvantage. And
Yeah.
there's no need to be, right? The BPA has put together great pricing, got some great vendors that can help them out,
Mhm.
people like yourself. There's a better day if they haven't taken the step, or just look at other centers that are using Party Works and see what they say.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
they're
It's
our
right
best,
there.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It's
our
right
word of
there.
mouth.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you one more thing just about that API. Tell me a little bit about some of the connections you're looking to make, because I am curious about that, how you make those different things work. That's something that we run into a lot, is how do you get all these different databases to talk to each other and play nice?
Yeah. Well, we just had a call with a big bowling center prospect, and they are adamant about needing integrations with, I'll say, Triple C
Okay.
and
Yeah.
a financial product that escapes me, NetSuite, I think. So
Sure.
as we look out there and see there's some really great people that do other stuff that we don't, and so the API will allow us to more easily plug in without having to rewrite a bunch of code,
I see.
right?
Yeah.
So it's really a way for engineers to create. It's like a plug-in strip on a
I
multi-length
see.
outlet.
Yeah.
We can just plug stuff in.
So it could be for
But that,
anyone then.
yes, or
Okay.
POS, of course,
Yeah.
it would be one of our first.
Very nice. Do you do anything? Are you planning to do anything with like a Zapier integration API?
Not yet, but
Okay. That's just
hey,
a common one that can plug to a lot of things that are already pre-built.
Yeah.
Just curious. Awesome. Well, Larry, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we're at the top of the hour. I could talk to you about this stuff all day. I really
Me
enjoyed
too.
this.
This has been enjoyable.
Yeah, likewise. But like I said, I do want to be respectful of your time. If people want to learn more about Partywirks, what's the best way to reach out or learn more?
Sure, partywirks.com. And we spell Partyworks with an I instead of an O in the word work. And that's kind of funny. When I started the company, there was actually a Partyworks that was in the entertainment business, but rentals and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I cleverly said, well, the I stands for internet. But
There we go.
partywirks.com or Larry at partywirks.com.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll send this out to our listeners. I'm sure you'll get some visits to the website. It's a great product. But again, thank you so much for coming on, Larry. This has been a great time.
It has been. I really enjoyed it, Forrest. Thanks so much for reaching out to us.
You bet. We'll talk soon.
Okay.